Interwebs. I'm outside today because it's actually above 32 degrees today. I am going to talk a little bit about Two Towers today, which is one of my favorite books in the whole world, and I've already read it twice. And I just want to start setting up some questions of just some things that Tolkien was talking about and kind of how the story is beginning to fit into the monomyth. And I really want to say real fast, I'm sorry this is late, Holly. I made the essay my priority. Hope you understand. Cool, okay. So, Two Towers starts in the second book in a 3-book trilogy. So it kind of just starts right off in the middle with Boromir being dead, which sucks. But he isn't the best character anyway. I actually prefer the movie Boromir to the book Boromir because the movie Boromir actually has a character arc a little bit. I mean, they both iterations end up sacrificing themselves for the hobbits, but just the movie Boromir just has a little bit more character depth to him, and it helps that he's played by Sean Bean. Looking a little bit into connections of the Norse myths and really ancient Brittonish myths and into Tolkien, one of the things you see is that Boromir is laid to rest on a boat and sent off into the river, which is a very Viking way of sending someone off. And yeah, and then you have, I loved how just the manliness of the three guys, that Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and how they sing him off. They sing him a song and let the river take him, and I think that's just so beautiful. The men in this book do a lot of things that would be considered unmanly and cheesy. They hug each other, they kiss each other, they sing songs, they are just very romantic, beautiful characters. So one of the things that I think is really interesting is kind of the class divisions of orcs, because you have what they talk about, the Northerners, so the goblins from the Misty Mountains, and then you have the Isengarders, which are the Uruk-hai, and they were, fun fact, the origin of orcs was that they were elves that were tortured and then buried, and then they were reborn as these horrible creatures. It's really quite sad. So, and then you have the Uruk-hai orcs, and then you have the Mordor orcs, so you have these different classes. And as they are running away with Merry and Pippin, there seems to be not a competition, but just a hatred between the different factions, and they one faction goes ahead, and then the other faction catches up with them, and then it mocks them for being slow or whatever. So that makes me, it's very, so they're very separated, but they're all kind of the same, right? So I wonder what Tolkien was trying to represent with the different orc classes. An interesting thing that I'm doing that I haven't tried before is there's a bunch of really beautiful maps at the back of the book. So I'm trying to follow along with their journey, so I don't know if it'll be easy to see. But so I have the red mark being Gimli and Aragorn and Legolas, and then I also have a green mark as Merry and Pippin right now. So this is the overall map. So far, let me find it. So far, both of those two groups have only gotten as far as Fangorn Forest. So here I have, the Aragorn party goes a little bit more up and around to Fangorn, And then, because Merry and Pippin are going to Isengard, which is over here, they kind of go more in a straight line, and then they end up being rescued by the Rohirrim about where the entrance of Fangorn Forest is, which is about here, and then they're going to go through Fangorn Forest for a while, and then they eventually end up in Isengard. And then I'm going to start doing that also with Frodo, Sam, and Gollum when I get to that. So a detail I noticed that I hadn't noticed the first couple of times reading it was that when Aragorn's party meets up with the Rohirrim after they've slain all the orcs, they're trying to find Merry and Pippin, so they're talking about, have you seen the Halflings? And the Rohirrim didn't even know that hobbits were real. They thought that they were just a myth. So it's interesting to look at, because here's the main map of Middle Earth. So the Shire is way over here. And then Rohan and Edoras, where the Rohirrim are from, are way over here. So you have that difference, and even just being separated by the mountains is like enough to make it seem like hobbits are something of fiction. And it kind of made me think of, like, we know that there are other cultures out there and we know that they exist, but it's like they're kind of just legends to us, at least to me, because like I don't know how people in Africa live. Like, I have an idea, but it's like I haven't been out there. We're like far away enough that I have no clue what it looks like. So I thought that was interesting. And then a couple of times have come up the elven cloaks. So in the first book, when the Fellowship goes through Lothlorien after they lost Gandalf in Moria, they meet up with Galadriel, and Galadriel gives them a bunch of gifts. So Galadriel has a couple of different roles in this story. She is mainly, she's the goddess, so she's like the goddess virgin. So when they meet with her, she gives them a bunch of elf gifts, which are like have magic powers. So she's also supernatural aid. Gandalf is the main supernatural aid in this story, but Galadriel is also there because she gives the Fellowship these gifts. So they're like, in the first book, Merry and Pippin get these knives, like these swords that they use, that I think get taken away from them when they're captured by the orcs, which sucks. It's not gifted in the book, but it is in the movie. Sam gets like the elven rope, which is like magic rope that like will hold fast but then also come loose when you tug on it. Frodo gets the vial of light, and then what's talked about over and over again is the elven cloaks, which are basically like magic camouflage. So it's like Pippin can hide on the ground covered in his cloak and no one sees him because it's camouflaging him. So all of that's interesting. I'm getting to kind of see how the monomyth is fitting into this story, and I'm really excited to keep reading. I love this book. All right, so I'll see you next time, I guess. Bye.